Well, a fine good evening, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. I'm at Lakeview Cemetery in Burlington, Vermont this evening. I haven't been back here in months. In fact, I think the last time I was here, I filmed Nellie Flynn, wife of John J. Flynn. And this evening, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to read to you a couple of newspaper clippings about John James Flynn. I think you'll find them rather interesting. And I may come back to talk more about him because he was a mover and shaker here in Burlington, Vermont. So if you'll give me just a moment to get ready. The print is exceptionally small, and my older than middle-aged eyeballs are already saying, you know, do we have a choice here? The answer to my eyeballs, heck no. Heck no. So I need to take off my eyeglasses, though, in order to read these things. So here goes nothing. So this is from the Burlington Free Press, dated Friday, September 13, 1940. John J. Flynn. It is passing strange that two men who have been active in Burlington's financial life during the past half-century, Harry A. Way and John J. Flynn, should have died within 24 hours of each other. Their friendship was well known, and it would almost seem that the spirit of one was drawn to the other in that mysterious journey through the veil to the spirit world. John J. Flynn has been a name to conjure with in Vermont financial circles for many years. If any man won the right to that, that man was John Flynn. Few quote-unquote big deals went through in this section of Vermont during the past 25 years in which he was not in some way concerned, though he was quite as often a silent partner as an announced one. The list of his business connections and directorships in banking and other financial institutions during his long business life would fill a column of type. At various times, he owned timberlands, farms, a toll road, street railways, a summer colony, theaters, electric lines, and power companies, as well as business blocks and residential property. His business acumen was almost uncanny at times. Success marked nearly every move that he made in the business world. It was inevitable that in this long and varied business career he should make enemies who criticized his methods. But he made warm friends as well, men who believed in his integrity and sincerity, who were attracted to him and held by his many admirable qualities. John Flynn was a man of intense likes and dislikes. When he believed in a person or a cause, there was almost no limit to his generosity in giving aid. His public and private benefactions in Burlington and throughout Vermont have covered a wide range of charitable endeavors and helped to solve a large number of personal financial problems. Many men and women found him truly, quote, a friend in time of need, unquote. Perhaps Mr. Flynn's best-known philanthropic effort was the dinner which he gave to Burlington newsboys each New Year's Day. This was a fine example of his warm-heartedness. His instructions to those who arranged the dinner were to open the doors to all hungry boys who wanted to come, even though they could not prove their qualifications as newsboys. Hence, the number of his New Year's guests grew year by year until more than 1,000 boys crowded the dining rooms of 2 local hotels on January 1 this year and were presented with tickets to movie theaters afterward. Those adults who had been guests of Mr. Flynn as he sat with these boys on New Year's Day, year after year, will testify to the genuine pleasure which he received from the happiness he was bringing to others. The less privileged boys of Burlington have lost a real friend in his death. When the balance sheets are drawn in that great beyond to which we all must journey, when we have ended our earthly effort, none of us is likely to have a completely clean record. But there will be, we feel sure, written upon the balance sheet of John J. Flynn, quote, he was a friend to many, and many were proud to call him friend, unquote. Now that is a lovely article in the Burlington Free Press. And we can see on his headstone here that he died in 1940. In fact, we can see that he outlived his wife, Nellie, by 18 years. I have a video on Nellie Flynn, which I'll put in a link to in the description below. She was a botanist. This second article, also from the Burlington Free Press, and certainly after his death, so at least 1940, comes to us from, this is from, clip from newspapers.com. So you can use a 7-day free trial. I'm not sponsored by newspapers.com at all. It's typically part of Ancestry.com, so I'm guessing perhaps Ancestry owns it. No idea. But every now and then you can find free newspaper clippings, and that's what these were free that I'm using. So the title of this article is Will of J Flynn Bequeaths Circus Lot to City for Park. And the subtitle is also His Residence as Home for Aged Men. Bulk of estate is for charity. Elks will get $25,000. Hospitals, orphanage benefit. So the orphanage, St. Joseph's Orphanage, also have a video on that. I'll include that in that link in the description below as well. That's one of my most popular videos, actually, to date. So please enjoy it. Alrighty. Again, tiny print and my eyeballs are saying please, please, please. And again, it's who cares? All right. John J. Flynn, I'm quoting here, financier and philanthropist who died last Thursday at the age of 86, left nearly his entire estate to public charities under trust funds to be created in the terms of his will, filed yesterday in probate court. He bequeathed his own residence to the city for a home for aged men and the circus grounds to the city to be used as a park for children. A clause in his will stated, quote, "It is the primary intent of this gift that after the death of the last survivor of the persons named above as life beneficiaries of the trust herein created, all of my property shall be devoted to public charities, not less than 1/4 to the care and comfort of children," unquote, the rest to the care and treatment of the sick, unquote. The Flynns never had children of their own. That's separate from this article. Quote, "The sum of $2,000 is given out right to the Salvation Army and St. Joseph's Orphanage of Burlington, as well as to the brother, Jerry C. Flynn, now deceased, nephew John J. Murphy of Rutland, nieces Gertrude M. Dervin of Pulteney, and Louisa M. Deming of Glen Ridge, New Hampshire, and to Charles M. Jones, chauffeur and part-time employee of Mr. Flynn, each household servant with him at the time of his decease, who had been in his service at least 2 years, was bequeathed $1,000. The Chittenden County Trust Company, that's the original name of the Chittenden Bank, which is now People's Bank, a bit of newer history for you, was given $25,000 in trust to be known as the John J. Flynn Elks Charity Fund to invest and reinvest, and from time to time pay over the amount and income thereof to Burlington Lodge number 116 of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, to be expended by the trustees of other proper officers of the lodge for clothing and other necessities of life for needy children. The sum of $10,000 was given the Chittenden County Trust Company in trust to invest and reinvest and pay interest and income each year for the perpetual care and maintenance of neglected and uncared for cemeteries. Something in privilege and remains and something his native town of Dorset, that's also in Vermont, the fund to be known as the John J. and Nellie F. Flynn Dorset Cemeteries Fund. Charles Jones benefits. The house at 261 Shelburne Street. Shelburne Street is what Shelburne Road is called in Burlington. Once it's out of Burlington, as you continue along Shelburne Street, it turns into Shelburne Road. Now occupied by Charles M. Jones, was willed to him, his heirs and assigns forever, with the lot of land on which the house stands. Jones also was bequeathed the camp property and farm in the province of Quebec, county of Compton, and township of Oakland, including all real estate Mr. Flynn owned in the township, with the camp outfit and property owned in connection with that camp and farm. The city of Burlington was left to Flynn residence at 251 South Willard Street, with all adjoining land, premises, and outbuildings to be known as the Flynn Home for Aged Men. The Flynn residence formerly was the home of J Phelps, former ambassador to England. On a side note, I do actually have a video on him too, which I'll put a link in the description below. Also left to the city was the land northerly of Flynn Avenue, between Shelburne Road and Pine Street, and south of the present fence next to the northerly side of Flynn Avenue, to be used as a park for children and to be known as the John J. Flynn Park. Time limit stated. Both of these gifts were willed to the city of Burlington on condition that the city, within 2 months after adjournment of the session of legislature following the death of Mr. Flynn, vote to accept such gifts for the purpose stated. If the city fails for the period of 1 year to carry out the stated purposes, both gifts will terminate and the property will become part of the residue and remainder of the estate. He bequeathed to his niece, Lolita Smith Deming, the house and premises at 11 North Union Street, where she once resided, and which at the time the will was made was occupied by Daniel Loomis, to have and use during her life, with the expressed hope that she retain the property during her life. She also was given all structures and buildings, including the cottage and adjoining premises at Star Farm Beach, occupied by Mr. Flynn as a summer dwelling, to be rent-free during her life. Mr. Flynn, in his will, stated that all his estate to be held in trust is given his brother Jerry C. Flynn, who is deceased at the time of this, and to Charles M. Jones, the latter continue to serve in the care and assignment of the Flynn property so long as he is able to discharge his duties, and shall receive pay for active and special services separate and apart from the payment accorded trustees. Really interesting stuff that he gave so much of his money to charities. Now, as for the Home for Aged Men, the city of Burlington determined it was too expensive, and they sold the property, and it was sold multiple times. It is, last I knew, it is owned by Champlain College and is used as the residence of the president of the college. So the Home for Aged Men never happened. Now, he was one of the largest. He owned a lot of land throughout in Burlington. So I will come back and talk about him again. But I wanted to share these two newspaper articles with you because I found them so fascinating. His name is if you're local to Burlington, then you know about Flynn Avenue. Name for him. Flynn Theater. Name for him. Flynn School. Name for him. That was land he leased to the city of Burlington for the school. All right. It is starting to get dark, believe it or not. It's, you can see over here the sun is going down. Well, thanks so much for coming with me today. Appreciate it. If you're enjoying my content on my channel, then I would ask that you subscribe to my channel. I upload a video every day of the week because I enjoy it. There are so many interesting people, places, and things to see and film. Right now, my traveling is limited to Vermont, because I'm driving to all these places. When I'm ready to get back on an airplane, I'll share that with you too. So until we meet again, you have a great evening. Bye.